and welcome to Bell to Bell, where we highlight the special people, projects, and events at the Scholars Academy right here in Rockaway Park, Queens. My name is Skylin. You may have heard that Scholars Academy is undergoing a massive construction project. We're receiving all new windows, central air conditioning, new science lab, a new library, and much more. Because of the construction, our TV studio is also off limits. But the show must go on, and so we've turned our classroom into a mini TV studio. Right now, here's Dennis to tell you what you'll be seeing today on Bell to Bell.
Thank you, Skylin. We're going to start off with a blast from the past, the way distant past. We studied the lives of prehistoric cave people and the earliest forms of unit communication created by them, cave art. Before we show you this year's projects, let's take a look at what last year's 6th graders did. Here's a short video called Fire.
The cave was dark and still. Only the sound of the wind that filled the frozen air was heard. I was sent out along with my brother to bring furs and food back. This was the most horrible storm my people have ever seen. After we finished, we went back to the cave. Then lightning struck a nearby tree, setting it in flames. In shock, we accidentally dropped the food into the fire. It simmered and we finally snatched it out. We also broke a branch off the tree and brought it to the cave. It lighted the cave and cooked our meat through the cold winter day.
This year, 6th graders created modern-day cave art by picking up our digital cameras to document the people, places, pets, and things that are important to us. We used Photoshop to crop, correct, and caption our photos. The photos were then made into high-quality prints. Here's a slideshow featuring just some of those photos. And now here are two students from 606 to tell you about our temple project.
I'm Sabrina Mohan.
And I'm Carmela for Bell to Bell. We're reporting live from the hallways of the Scholars Academy in Rockaway Park, Queens, where we are highlighting the new ziggurat, temples, and pyramids exhibit at the Scholars Academy. Humanities teachers Ms. Blaney and Ms. Totis assigned the sixth graders to complete an essay and build a 3D model based on either the ancient religions of Mesopotamia, India, or Egypt. As you can see, the hallway is full of amazing projects.
These projects show the high level of effort these students put into their work. Kai and I are also proud students here at the Scholars Academy and would like to show you our projects. My project is based on the Hindu religion of ancient India. The Hindu temple is called a mandir. As you can see, Hindu temples are very ornate, filled with beauty, and they are grand and majestic. They feature pictures, carvings, and symbols of various Hindu gods and goddesses. I'll turn it over to Kai now to discuss her project.
My project was based on the religion of ancient Egypt. Many people think they worshipped in the pyramids, but that is where they buried their dead. For my temple, I used oatmeal to give it the look from the ancient times. These Egyptians worshipped many gods and goddesses, such as Re and Bastet. Ancient Egyptians helped history and changed over time.
Thank you for tuning into our newscast.
The report is in, and we're heading back to class.
Scholars Academy is part of the Knowledge Network Learning Support Organization, where the importance of art is both supported and carefully integrated into the curriculum. Last year, the work of Scholars Academy art students, as well as other Knowledge Network students, were celebrated at an event hosted by the Queens Museum of Art. Let's go to Flushing Meadows Park and see how it went.
My name is Rachel Gross. I'm from Scholars Academy. My teacher is Miss Trippett.
Hi, I'm Edward Morgano, and my colleague and myself, Steve Lasky and myself, are visual arts specialists for the Knowledge Network. We work throughout the region, throughout the Knowledge Network, and we provide professional development workshops for art teachers. And we ran a workshop on how to set up an exhibit, and that's where it was the evolution of this particular show that you see right now.
So we've arranged the exhibition in two different ways. In some years, the teachers work with a museum curator to select the work and install the work themselves. And the other way that we've worked is that the supervisors of the LSO, of the arts programs, Ed and Steve, select the work, and then it's installed by an art handler at the museum. And that's how the show is arranged this year.
We've been working actually with the Queens Museum for the past 3 years. They're wonderful hosts for workshops. At the end of the year, they always do a student show showing the excellence of student artwork, that focusing on different areas within the visual arts throughout the entire year.
A key component in arts education is really a well-integrated child, integrated into all of the disciplines.
My name is Kevin Cifuentes, and I go to Scholars Academy, and my teacher's name is Miss Trippett.
So for instance, when a teacher is talking about developing work or creating artwork, they're talking about how it integrates as well into science and social studies. We're not just looking at a piece of artwork that we see in a museum, but we talk about what's the historical context.
Our assignment for this project was to do a self-portrait and relate it to the colonial times. I used watercolors, color pencil, gems, magazines, construction paper, pen, pencil.
When we talk about enlarging artwork, we'll talk about scale, ratio, proportion, and we integrate a lot of mathematical concepts into it. We'll talk about science when we talk about the value of work and painting and different types of paints and mixing paints.
This is a mandala, and it's made up of patterns and textiles. I made it by first making the circle, and then we used ink pens to make the design inside, and we finished it off with colored pencils.
And what you saw downstairs today was a real small portion of work. It's about 115 pieces of work. The work you're seeing is really representative of the hard work that a lot of the art teachers are doing and a lot of the supervisors are doing to support the programs.
My hardest task was actually choosing only 6 pieces of work. That is extremely difficult, especially with the caliber of work that I get from all the students in the school. And they had told us that they would only pick 3. The 3 would be chosen out of the 6. And we were very fortunate to have 5 out of the 6 chosen to be exhibited at the Queens Museum.
I wasn't really always interested in art. It was something that developed over time. And this year was really when I got into art, especially during this project, because it opened up my mind to expressionism. It allowed me to express my creativity easier.
I've always been into art, and when I came to Scholars, I met Miss Chippick, and she was a good art teacher, and she kept us up to date with all the types of art, like futurism and impressionism.
Every school in New York City is allocated funds for arts education. The money, especially this year, all of the money went directly to the schools, and it's the principal's decision to decide how that money is then allocated for arts education.
The Scholars Academy commits more than 10% of its budget to the arts. Over $400,000 this year thus far has been dedicated to arts instruction. Some of our programs: Magic Box Video Project, Broadway Junior, ballroom dancing, our middle school and high school bands. We have violin class, we have guitar and songwriting, numerous electives. Every student gets 2 periods of piano, 2 periods of film, and 2 periods in the visual arts.
For me, what I love most about the show and the opening are the artists, the student artists. I am amazed to see what they can produce, both technically, but also just in terms of the spirit that goes into their work, what they're trying to communicate. So I just hope all of the students are really proud of themselves and understand what accomplishments they've made in order to be in the exhibition.
The most important factor out of the whole exhibit in the show is actually the student recognition, and actually having the students see their work up on a museum, professionally framed and matted and mounted for the world to see is quite an accomplishment.
Our final media project is called a patchwork video. Just as quilts are pieced together using various pieces of cloth, with each piece often representing some aspect of a family or community, our video patchwork presents a portrait of the different personalities that make up the 6th graders at Scholars Academy. Here are just a few of the 150 short videos produced this year.
When I was 4, I got my first video game. It completely surprised me because I never even asked or played with one before. I quickly got obsessed with it and didn't put it down even when I was eating. When I wasn't tired and I was forced to go to sleep, I found ways to sneak it to my room and play till I fell asleep. One day it didn't work, and when I found out it needed to be charged, it didn't matter anymore. My mom saw I had blisters, so I couldn't play anyway. But eventually I got a new game, and the game craziness started again.
When I was in 3rd grade, a fire started in my parents' bedroom. I was so scared. It happened so fast and randomly. The bed caught fire and the pillows got scorched. My dad was screaming on the phone. He was calling the firemen. When the firemen came and extinguished the fire, half of the bed was burned. Fortunately, no one got hurt. That day will stay in my mind forever.
My sister Ivana had a baby. Her name is Kimberly Queens Mojica. She was born on May 15, 2008. She was almost already a year old. Her middle name is Queens because she was the first person in our family to be born in America. Everyone else was born in Poland. She is a special baby because she was the first person to make my mom and dad grandparents and to make me an aunt.
When I was a baby, first learning to talk, I only used to say egg. I said egg in everyday conversation, stole eggs out of bagels, and just said egg at random. When I started going to school, I had a spelling test. I spelled every hard word right except for egg, e.g. egg. Ironic, isn't it?
About 3 years ago, we had a cat named Ray Ray. We all loved him very much, but my mother was allergic to him. So was my father. So we had to send him away to the shelter. My mother was sad. He was adopted the first week. I miss him so much.
I was in kindergarten and it was Christmas morning. I got a real gold necklace. It was the shape of an ox because I was born on the year of the ox. It had a diamond for the eye. The next day I was walking to school with it around my neck. Everyone loved it, and when I was walking home up the stairs, it dropped. I didn't know. I realized it when I was home and my mom asked, "Where is it?" I couldn't find it anywhere. I was sad. I wished that I never brought it to school. My mom thinks that I knew it dropped and was scared to pick it up, but she was wrong. Now my mom doesn't let me wear real jewelry to school. I still haven't found it. I never saw it ever again.
When I was 9 years old, on the first day of school in the 4th grade, my house was getting knocked down due to construction. I thought I would never be able to let go of that house, but somehow I did. It was getting knocked down because my parents wanted a new house to be built. I saw the first fracture in my house just before I went to school that morning. Later that year, people started to work on the new house. After the old house was gone, I started to feel a little upset because something that I had for life was gone forever.
Christmas is supposed to be a time of fun. Well, in 2006, that wasn't my Christmas. There was no food, no eggnog, and almost no presents. It was lacking the Christmas spirit that was always there. I got about 3 presents. My brother got all the presents that he wanted. I got presents that I didn't even ask for. This may happen to people all around the world, but it is a life lesson that you don't always get what you want.
It all started when I was in the 1st grade. My grandmother had died, and I was really sad to hear it. After a couple of months, my new baby brother was born. His name is Aiden, and it also means fire in Irish. My family always say, as the door closes, another one opens. I didn't really understand it, but then after a while, I got to know what it meant. It meant people die, but someone takes a new life. So, I learned that everyone has to die, even if you don't want them to.
It all started one day when I was 5 years old. My older cousins were over and they wanted to watch a scary movie at midnight. It was called The Sick House. I had never seen a scary movie before and I was scared at just the thought of it. But I didn't want them to know that. They'd think I was a baby. But it was worse than I thought. I was scared out of my mind. My mom would always try to comfort me, but nothing ever worked. I couldn't even sleep by myself. The movie just kept replaying in my head again and again. But over time, I got better, and one day I was able to face my fears. Maybe I just wasn't ready for it at 5, but now at the age of 11, I watch horror movies all the time. I can't even believe I was scared.
In the year 2006, devastation entered the lives of those in my family. A car tragically hit our beloved dog. My parents were at a friend's house and he began chasing a bird. All of a sudden, Rico was lying flat on the road. The veterinarian said he was in horrible condition with an almost paralyzed leg and internal bleeding. He wouldn't make it through the night. We prayed and prayed to help him overcome his pain. Eventually, someone answered our prayers. Rico had recovered. We believe the only reason he survived was his strong spirit and his will to live.
When I was
6 years old, I went to a place called Lake George for summer vacation. There was a giant lake where you can swim, canoe, fish, and you could play mini golf too. There was a bunch of stores and even a Six Flags near it. It was really fun because I got to stay there for 5 days. But on the third day I was there, my parents left for about 2 minutes to get ice cream, and then I went to go for a swim and went too far deep, and my feet couldn't touch the bottom, and then I started to drown. The lifeguard pulled me out, but I was too scared to ever swim again. Eventually I started swimming again, but I never go really deep
I like the color blue, and this is why. When I was a baby, I was very bad. Because of this, my parents talked about how I could improve. They thought I was a devil child. I always spilled my food and water, and I never shared my toilets with the other babies in daycare, and they ended up crying. So they solved it by getting me occupied with toys and sleeping. My favorite chew toy was a blue rabbit. It made squeaky noises. So now you know why I like the color blue.
When my brother was 3 years old, he went to the dentist for a checkup. When the dentist left the room, my brother started to play with tools. One of the tools was a needle, and the needle had anesthesia in it. When the dentist got back into the room, my brother accidentally poked the dentist in the leg. A second later, the dentist fell to the floor, complaining that he couldn't feel his leg. And from now on, every time my brother goes to the dentist, he has to stay seated.
A new friend. The first 5 years of my life were great, or so I thought. I didn't have a care in the world. I had everything I could ever want, except for someone to play with. I hoped, prayed, and dreamed for a little brother or sister. One day I got the courage to ask my parents for one. They said they'd see what they could do. Several months later, my mom told me she was pregnant. I was so happy I screamed for joy. Over the next 9 months, I helped my parents get ready for my new baby brother. One day, my aunt came to pick me up from school. She drove us to the hospital. There, I met my little brother, Kevin. I hugged and held him for as long as I could. Over the next 6 years, we had some good times and we had some bad times, but I always know that we will be friends forever.
When I was little, I was fun and creative. Every day was different than the next. Instead of buying presents, I was the present. One day I was going to play in the snow and didn't want to be cold, so I dressed in my mom's largest jacket from head to toe. One of my favorite games was hide and seek, and I had a good hiding place too. Instead of walking my dog, I slept with my dog. At the end of the day, I looked something like this.
My family are pet lovers. We own 4 dogs. They have become a part of the family. Molly is the most mischievous and likes to howl next to Muffin. Sophie is the oldest and quietest. Muffin is the youngest and loves to get dressed up. Tippy only gets along with Sophie. All of my dogs are a constant source of amusement for me and my family. Even though they constantly get into trouble, we always forgive them.
That's all the time we have for today. We hope you enjoyed our show. From Scholars Academy in Rockaway Park, Queens, so long for now.